Hi, we're at 857 Lafayette Street. We have pulled the toilet in the basement to do a sewer scope. There is a small room on the other side of the laundry over here that does have another clean out going out 3 feet higher on the wall, and it is serving an upstairs bathroom, so kind of a unique setup. I think we have two sewer branches here. One starts up higher and will join us later on, because this one in the basement, if it was renovated, it had to have been done in the 50s. We have a lead sweep in the concrete. All of that says original, so we didn't want to miss what was going on under the floor here. It is a warm sewer. They must have done some recent laundry or kitchen or something. We're going to need to get some cold water in here to get the fog off the lens. The cast iron looks good. There is one little new piece of ABS right there. It's a little bit flat through here, but not bad. That's about a 1/2 to 3/4 of an inch of water, because our camera sits at about 1 1/4 inches tall as far as the lens goes. Big left-hand turn. So we went toward the middle, and now we're headed out the back. Once again, just a tiny bit flat. It's getting a little deeper right there, but I think we've got a bunch of waste causing that. Can't tell if that's just toilet paper, or if that's maybe some paper towel, something bigger than and nastier than should have been in the line, something that doesn't want to break down. But it was the reason the water was actually holding there, not the other way around. Now we get to push it all the way out. Okay, that was our transition right there from the cast to the clay. Now we're going to be keeping our eye open for the lateral from upstairs tying in. Again, we just got a little bit flat, but we still could have that toilet paper turning a corner and stopping on us. And it is. You see it going away down there. Oh, and we got a big old root out here too. 45 feet, you got one of those that is like a garage door that can drop. That's why our water's holding. That is big enough to warrant a cleaning. It is also getting plenty of greasy water on our lens. You can also see right there, there's a man-made tie-in. That's that other line dropping in. And that was about 10 feet into the, if that, maybe 5 feet into the clay tile, 5 or 10. And that's where the upstairs line ties in. Some roots. This is an old enough sewer that when you see these roots, it looks like there's some clumpy mud with it. It's because there is. When you have a clay tile sewer that's been in the ground for 100 years, there's dirt up against the pipe, not just rock. And that will squeeze in through the seals, because the seals have deteriorated. It's not a problem. It'll never come in enough quantity to affect flow. Normal use will keep it washed back. The roots are your bigger issue. Another bit of a belly here. I don't know if our paper towel slid down and stopped again. It did. There it is. I think that is not toilet paper. I think that's something more like paper towel, and that's why it just doesn't want to go through the system, and it doesn't want to break down. And it has been the cause of most of our little backups. See, it's gone down the hill and caught up again, so we're going to just kind of pick up the pace, and we're not going to worry about looking too hard until we get rid of that in front of us. You see on the top of the pipe right there at 84 feet what looks like a hole? It is a hole. That is a man-made hole. This line, someone in the past dug it up and cleaned it from out in the yard, and they smashed a hole in the top of the pipe in order to clean it, and then they patched it. That's a 4-inch hole, and there is no dirt coming in it, which would not be the case if that was just straight out damage. Okay, we're diving down near the alley. That's actually why you see this offset right here. That's not really because the thing's falling apart or anything like that. It's because they took straight pipe and then tilted it down at a 22-degree angle. What that does is your pipe doesn't line up perfectly. It butts up on the bottom before it does the top, and it exposes a great deal of the interior of the bell hub, but it's a very common practice of installation. That's probably the same here. They're turning it a little sharper than the fittings called for, which exposes a little more. Once again, you got a little bit of mud pushing in there. There's no damage there though. That's just oozing its way in through the seam. Same there. And it's a pretty common thing. It's not really going to hurt you. That we're not as happy about. That's going to be very tough for us to get by. That is a significant shift with a bit of a hole in the ground. And we're going to hit this and probably get caught on it. Because it is tall. The sewer's functional at this point, but this is a pretty severe bit of damage right here. You're definitely going to be losing water from this. There's a hole in there big enough that my entire camera can fall into it. And you can barely make it out, but the back side of the pipe there has mud. That's probably out near the alley, but with that big hole like that, we're not going to be able to get the camera through here because it's just going to keep falling into that hole. Yeah, that's a pretty good gap right there. Waste probably hits it and then floats over, and under heavy use just gets washed out of there. But that's going to be a problem. So we're going to pause right there. Alright, so we've come back and the water's not running anymore. You can see just how big the hole in the ground there is. The water's not draining out, but that's because the soil around this area is bound to be saturated, because this has been losing significant water for a long time. So we're going to pause right there again. Alright, we've located that out there. We're going to go ahead and come back with this inspection. We're looking at this spot again because I know when we passed it originally, didn't call it a big deal, but you know, it is cracked there, and frankly, it wouldn't hurt to bring the repair that you're going to do at 102 feet back to this point just to correct this whole section. Now we're going to come back to the sewer and make sure we didn't miss anything in those sections where the toilet paper was causing water to hold. All that part seemed pretty darn smooth to me. There's our hole on the top that I say is patched, and I stand by that. That is patched. The patch could eventually fail, but it's probably been there for 40 years. And or 60 years even with a house this old. The rest of this looks really good. We've had very few roots. The only roots were early on. Got a little hairline crack on the top right there. I'm not too concerned about that one though. It hasn't moved. It doesn't have cracks going in different directions, which would indicate the top of the pipe weakening. Just not something that worries us. Let's see if we can get a splash. Well, got a splash of dirty water. But you notice this is some of our low areas, and they're nowhere near as significant now. That's just this one little root growing from right there, clumping up there and catching some stuff. But it's really not big enough to clean. It would probably be a waste of time. The rest of this is just really typical of an older 100-year-old sewer. There is that one root there though, and that one is large enough to justify cleaning it. That one's back here really close to the house. Okay, so we're back in the cast iron now. And you can look at that and you can tell that it's got more texture than just toilet paper. So they put something down in here that really shouldn't be. Maybe wipies or paper towels. Yeah, that water's not really the kind that can clean a lens much. All that looks pretty typical. When you clean it to get rid of the roots, you'll improve the way that looks as well. So that is our sewer. Once again, here's your basement, your bathroom, little door with the boiler room. We'll stop right there.